Hey guys, so I'm already crying before I even start this video, and I don't mean to. It's just really hard because my family was here on the weekend and we got to have lots of fun and do fun things together. We went to the science center, to the zoo, took our dog down to the river, and I just got into my condo and just the quietness of it. My son's food that he didn't finish eating is right here on the counter, and I'm just feeling really emotional. But I still wanted to film because I wanted to tell you guys how my day went. So I'm gonna try to get through it. So today is day 1 of week 3. I did have exam 5 today. I didn't really study that much over the weekend just because, like I said, I was busy with my family, but it was kind of like a review. There was new things that I learned for exam 5, but a lot of it was now common sense to me after having written the first couple exams and been learning so much about all of this that I didn't really study. I was a little bit worried. I got 95% on it, so I'm really proud of that. So now I just have a first aid exam that I have to write. Even though I already have my first aid, we have to know special first aid for being a flight attendant, as in giving first aid oxygen and supplemental oxygen and stuff like that. So I have an exam that I'll have to write for that. And then I have one last final big exam, which I'll have 3 hours to write. And basically it's all what was in the last 5 exams into one big one. The good news is I have not used my rewrite yet, so I can use it if I need it for that big one. So that's great. So today we learned about ICM, which is interference with a crew member. Basically, there's 4 levels of interference, and it just talks about each level, how to manage it when, police or rerouting the whole entire plane would take place. Starts from anything as small as being like, "Sir, I'm gonna need you to buckle up your seatbelt. We are about to take off." And a customer saying, or a passenger saying, "No." Right? Very minor, all the way up until restraint and actually having to physically make someone not reach the cockpit, right? So it varies from here to here, which was really interesting. And we had to learn about different mechanisms to protect ourselves and to maybe make someone not be able to get into the cockpit, which was interesting because obviously at every job I've ever had, I've never learned about, stances and how to necessarily take someone down if need be and restrain them. So that was interesting, but obviously we're flying. It's not like a restaurant where if someone's being inappropriate, you just call the cops and, remove him from the restaurant. We're in the air. We're 25,000 feet, it's a little bit more difficult than that. So yeah. Got to learn about all of that today. We do have a drill tomorrow, which will be on how to don your PBE. So basically the PBE is like this hat thing that you have to put on, and there's a mask and you pull it and it releases the pins and then oxygen will come out. And that's what we would have to put on if we suspect fire or smoke or whatever we need to put out the fire. So I do have that drill tomorrow. I do feel confident with it. It's not a big, huge drill. It's not like an emergency evacuation or something. It's just kind of small. So yeah, I have that tomorrow. So I will practice that tonight. And then a lot of e-learning to do, and that's about it. Thanks guys, bye. All right guys, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Today was tough. It was a lot. I got out of class at 3:30, which is early, and I feel like I just want to crack a beer and decompress a bit because that's how much I've done today, more than every other day I've ever had. So basically we went to the classroom as we normally do. We were split into groups A and B. Group A was myself. I got to go down to the simulator first with my other group members. And basically they handed us our drill package and you could see their markings, right? So you're looking at what they're marking. You're like, okay, I have to remember to do that. Okay, and I have to say this at this time. And it's all fun and dandy until you're actually in there doing the evacuation and you forget what you're supposed to say or whatever, right? So the first thing that we did in the simulator was we had to show that we could open and close all the exits. So as if it was just a normal exit, right? So I had to open the door of L1, push the air stairs out, engage gust locks, and then you had to do the same with the back doors as well, L2 and R2. Then the tough part came. We had to do a unplanned land evacuation and a unplanned water evacuation. So the reason why I thought this was so tough is because you have to remember everything that you're supposed to say and when you're supposed to say it, which I definitely need to do practice with, but I was also surprised with how well I did do under the pressure. So I'm just gonna try to remember a little bit of it here. So let's say if we're doing a unplanned land evacuation for L1 and R1. So we're sitting in our jump seats and we're in our brace position because we have to be in our brace position for takeoff and landing anytime you're a flight attendant. So this is the brace position for a lead flight attendant. So the flight attendant at the front of the aircraft. So we're here. All of a sudden it's evacuate, evacuate, evacuate. So we go, you and you, hold people back. We have to undo our jump seat. We have to press the emergency light switch on. And then we have to go look out 1A's window. We're looking for fire, smoke, water, and debris. If it's safe to open, then you'd go back and you would open your L1 door, push the air stairs out, engage the gust locks, and then you go, get out of my way, get out of my way. And you would go to the other side of the aircraft, so R1, and you would look out that window for, again, fire, smoke, water, and debris. If it's safe to take off, you would put your back against the aircraft, put one hand up here, one hand down here. You literally rip the door off. And for us, we just put it in the seat in front of us. But we were like, I'm throwing out the door as far as I can, right? And then we have to back up and we have to go into our recovery position, which is like this. And then we have to say the commands. So release seatbelts, come this way, leave everything. You and you, help at bottom, send people away. Release seatbelts, come this way, leave everything, go to bottom, move away, right? Like, it was so tough when you're in the moment to remember what you're supposed to say. So that would be a full example of a unplanned land evacuation. And then for an unplanned water evacuation, it's the exact same thing, but when you go assess the 1A window and you see water, then you would go under your jump seat and you would don your life vest on and put it around you and tighten it up. And while you're doing that, you would say, release seatbelts, remove seat cushion, release seatbelts, remove seat cushion. And you would just keep saying it until you have your life vest on. Then you'd go to 1A window again, assess it again. Yes, there's water, but it's clear to exit. So you would you would remove the curtains, put it in the wardrobe. You would put the ditching dam down, and then you would open the L1 doors. You don't have to disengage the lock because the doors will automatically sink with the water. And then you would go to the other side, R1. You would assess that window. Yes, there's water, but it's safe to go out that way. You would have to put the lever down to just lock the ditching dam. Same thing, take off the door. I put it in front of me, but you have to say, I'm throwing this out as far as I can. you'd go into your recovery position and you say, release seatbelt, remove seat cushion, come this way, jump in water, swim away. And you just keep repeating it, right? And yeah, it was tough, but I'm happy to say I passed both of them. Now, this wasn't a mark as in, hey, if you miss something, like you fail, you're kicked out of the class. It wasn't that one. It's basically just a practice round. So let's say you forget to, put your ditching down. You would lose a point and you would have to just redo it until you get 100%. The only one I had to redo was the blocked exit one. So for that, it's all the same thing, but all of a sudden your instructor will say, there's a fire at R1. So you go, blocked exit, move this way. Blocked exit, move this way. Release seatbelts, come this way. Jump in water, swim away, whatever, right? You just have to say it again, but you'd have to say that that's blocked. And let's say both of them are blocked. Then you'd have to say, exit's blocked, move that way. And you have to basically like move that way or move forward or wherever you are in the aircraft. What else do we have to do? Oh, and then we just had to do a drill with like the PA, the phone system. So, they'd say, pick up the intercom. You pick it up. Okay, hang up. Now call your captain. Pick up, press, call, right? Call your other flight attendant. Pick it up, call your other flight attendant. Make an announcement that there's turbulence. We have our iPad that we can read the turbulence. So you'd pick it up and press a little button and make the announcement, right? That one was the easiest for sure. But yeah, so that was tough to remember everything that I'm supposed to say. Anyways, moving on. Then we had lunch. And then after lunch, we got to switch spots. So A, people who were in the simulator got to go up to B, which was got to move up to the classroom to do the other drills. So in the classroom, the drills were, we had to put a infant life vest on a baby. The baby wasn't real, but yeah, we had to do that. We had to administer first aid oxygen, put it in the sleeve and tighten it around the bar at the bottom of the seat so that the oxygen tank can't move around. What else did we do? We had to put on our PBE and pretend that we're fighting a fire. And I believe that was all for the whole day. And I know it might not sound like a lot, but it is. And it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of memorization, but you know what? One drill at a time. Look at how they're marking you so you don't miss anything. Take a deep breath. Don't overthink. I am an overthinker. Anyone who knows me knows that. That's not helpful in this situation because I'm thinking, what about this? And what if that and this? No. Listen to your instructor and what they're saying. Don't overthink it. You have the tools. You've passed the exams. Go. So yeah. I'll let you know how tomorrow goes. Bye, guys. So it is, I don't know if it's day 3 or 4 of week 3, honestly. It's like really hard to keep track because every day you're just like, gotta stay alive, gotta stay alive. But yeah, so just like yesterday, we were split into our 2 groups. So as I said yesterday, I was group A. So today I got to finish off my drill package. It was a really good day. The first drill that I got to do was I got to fight a real fire. So I had, my other flight attendant, and we had to do a scenario. And basically these doors open and there's aircraft seats in it. And then when my instructor hits the button, they start on fire. And so basically they just want to see if we're using the correct terminology, like get back up and notify the captain, for example, and donning our PBE, make sure we do it properly, pull the pin, tighten it, make sure that the actual mask is on our face, pull the pin for the fire extinguisher, and then aim aim, squeeze, and sweep and put out the fire. Inside the extinguisher was just water though, so it wasn't like white stuff going everywhere. It wasn't like that. But yeah, it was like really cool. It was kind of intimidating at first, but it went really well. And then our second drill was my favorite. So we got to go down to the cabin trainer, which is the same cabin trainer that we've been going on this whole time to practice drills. This time I got to go with a partner. I'm not gonna say her name just because I'm not sure if she would want me to say her name. Not that you guys would know her, but I'll just say her name is Brittany, okay? So Brittany and I get to go onto the aircraft, and all of a sudden we're like doing service and we're like, do you have any garbage? Did you have any garbage? We're like doing service. All of a sudden the smoke detector goes off in the lavatory. So we got to work together. I got to go and like feel the door, and I said, Brittany, this feels hot. I suspect there's a fire in here. I see smoke and it feels hot to touch or whatever, right? Get back up and notify the captain. So then she has to go call the captain while I have to don my PBE, get my fire extinguisher, pull the pin, fight the fire. But it wasn't a real fire, it was a pretend fire this time. And then I had to close it. I had to stow my PBE because it's hot, like the generator gets hot once the oxygen is going. Again, it's not real, like it is a real hat, but it doesn't actually have the oxygen working on it, so it wouldn't actually burn me. You just have to show that you can do it. And it was really interesting. And then that one was cool because then after that, because I fought the fire, I had to call the captain and say, hey captain, it's Tori from L1. We had a small fire in the lavatory bathroom. I was able to put it out. I had to don my PBE equipment and use the fire extinguisher. And then he says, whatever, I hang up. And then I had to make a PA announcement to, well, no one, but still make a PA announcement. Something like, ladies and gentlemen, this is your flight attendant speaking. As I'm sure you're aware, we did have a small fire in the lavatory bathroom, but don't worry, we are trained for procedures such as this. We have an able-bodied passenger looking after it, and you can ring your flight attendant call button if you have any questions, concerns, or need medical first aid. Thank you. Whatever. You know what I mean? You get the gist. And it was so fun because like it was actually the smoke detector going off and actually things going off in the aircraft, which I wouldn't want them to go off in real life, but it was just cool to see it all come together. And then our third drill was to give, so yesterday we did first aid oxygen, and then today we did supplemental oxygen, which is given if the cabin has depressurization. So yeah, it's just like there's 3 masks or whatever, so 3 people can use the oxygen. And yeah, I had to administer that, call the captain, make a PA announcement, and it was a good day. It was cool. It was a short day, so I was done at 1:30. So I stayed at the campus and I just fired out my e-learning because I work on e-learning every night. I try to chip away at it a little bit at a time because you don't want to leave it all till the end. Trust me, it takes a long time. And today I finished it. So I don't have to worry about my e-learning anymore. And that's really exciting. So tomorrow we work on first aid. Today is week 3, day 5. I didn't film yesterday just because it was a long day and I had to study for a first aid exam, which I took today, and it was just a lot, so I didn't film. So I'm gonna first update you on what yesterday's class was. So as I mentioned, it was all first aid, and all flight attendants have our first aid certificates already, but there is some differences giving first aid on an aircraft compared to land. For example, if you're giving CPR and you have an AED machine hooked up to someone and you're on the ground, you have as much room as you possibly need in most cases. Whereas for us, we just have a small aisle. Unless they're closer to the galley or the front of the aircraft, we can move them into a bigger area. But let's say if they go down in row 11, they're right in the middle, and we can't just pick up people and move them, right? So it was really tricky to see how just squished it is and how things are different. So on the aircraft, we do have first aid kits, which are just your basic first aid kits. I mean, I'm sure you all know what's in them, but we also have what's called the EMK kit. This EMK kit, we as flight attendants are not qualified to use it. We are not doctors. We cannot administer medications. So that was basically what the course was about, was how, right? So if you're on the ground, you're gonna just call 911 and you're gonna wait for, you know, emergency, an ambulance, whatever to come. But if we're 25,000 feet in the air and we're not anywhere near an airport that we can land in, what do you do? So basically they just taught us about this app that we all have on our iPads. It's called MedAir, and we would go unconscious or conscious, right? It like walks you through it, tells us what questions to ask or just whatever, right? It comes up with a portfolio, and basically we would just airdrop it to the pilot. The pilot would have to get in contact with MedLink, who then would tell us what to do, how to administer the medication, where, what site, how much, and things like that. So if someone is going, I don't know, there are so many situations. Basically the point is, I am not qualified or equipped to give medication unless told otherwise by MedLink, is what it is. So even if you think you know, like, oh, this is what they need, you are not allowed to give it to them. You have to wait for MedLink. Got to use an AED machine, which I've already done that before. Just more CPR, and yeah, just a little bit different. Some rules are a little bit different in the aircraft than on ground, but which is, you know, understandable. But that was pretty much it yesterday. I know it doesn't sound like it would be like a lot, but like, I'm really interested in learning about the aircraft and being a flight attendant and all things about it. But with first aid, especially when you've already done first aid, it's kind of like, you know, it gets a little bit tiresome. So last night I came home, I just didn't want to film. I sat on the couch, I did nothing. And then before I fell asleep, I was like, okay, I better just brush up on some first aid. And then this morning, I woke up and I felt really nervous for no reason. Just something felt off. I didn't feel like myself, and I just got a really bad feeling, and I was thinking, you should have studied, because I always study, and I just felt like, if this is the one exam that you didn't really study for and this is what takes you out and you fail, like, I'd be so frustrated. But I just kept calm. I kept having deep breaths. I kept telling myself, you know this information, like, you know it. And went into my exam, and it didn't take me long to write. It was a short exam, I think 45 questions, and I got 98%. So I was really happy with that, obviously. It's the highest mark I've gotten so far in my course. It felt good. And it feels good to know that I'm equipped and I have the knowledge to help someone, so they should need first aid. And then today, it was a nice day. It was light. It was, well, obviously we had our exam, but after that it felt light. We got to go in groups of 5. So there's 4 groups of 5. And we just went over IHR reports. So incident hazard reports, and just read them, what we thought was good about them, what could be better about them, and stuff like that. We got to see the 5 different managing styles and talk about that. Like, what type of managing styles have you liked in your past, or what kind did you not like, right? And we came up with the conclusion that we need all 5 management styles to be a good manager. You know, like sometimes you do need that push, and sometimes you need to let go, and sometimes you need to be assertive, and sometimes you need to be, right? Whatever. So that was interesting. Honestly, that's all we did today was class discussions. And it felt really nice to just all chill, and it felt good too because for the past 2 days we've been split in groups A and B, whereas today we got to all be together as one. And I honestly like missed my classmates. Like I thought about them and I was like, oh, I wonder how their drills are going, you know? So it was nice to have everyone back together, and it's the Friday before the long weekend, and our instructor dismissed us at 1, which was really nice because usually we're not done till 4. So this weekend I'm flying home to Lloydminster, and then I'll be back for Tuesday. I'm really worried because on Tuesday is when we start our drills. So we've done practice drills before, like I said, that you and you hold people back and turning on the emergency light switch and looking and assessing the windows. Whatever I said a couple days ago, that is what I have to do again, but this time I'm actually marked and I have to get 85% or higher. And if I don't, I get 1 rewrite and redo whatever. And if I don't make it, then I fail the course. So I have 4 drills to do. I will do 2 on Tuesday. And if I make it past that, I will do 2 on Wednesday. So I believe I'll be doing land drills Tuesday. So planned and unplanned. And then Wednesday will be water. So yeah, 2 more days of drills. If I pass those, I have 1 more final exam that I'm allotted 3 hours to write, and then that's it. And then it's graduation day. So it feels like it's really close, but at the same time, there's a lot of nerves coming up as just, yeah, I just hope that I can study and pass and that I won't freeze and that I can do it. I know I can do it. I need to not overthink things. They want to see how you would do in a real drill. So yeah, I just need to study. Wish me luck. Send me good vibes Tuesday and Wednesday, and I hope that I have good news for you guys. I really do. Anyways, have a good long weekend, guys. Bye. Oh, I always forget because I'm not a big YouTuber. Like and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it. And comment if you have any questions or just comments in general or what you'd like to see. Bye, guys.